Schuler views perfectionism as a characteristic of giftedness and defines perfectionism as an emotional trait of giftedness. Schuler dives into previously existing research to analyze the widespread belief that perfectionism is a negative characteristic that should be eliminated if a gifted child or adolescent is functioning successfully. She first analyzing the view of perfectionism that leads into the construct of perfectionism and its measurements. While previous literature has viewed perfectionism as a destructive trait, others have viewed perfectionism as a healthy and important trait for human development. Quoting from Rodell that in a positive form, perfectionism can provide that driving energy which leads to great achievement. Contrastingly, she quotes the negative aspect of perfectionism, quoting that perfectionism, coupled with the punishing attitudes towards one's effort, can cripple the imagination, kill the spirit, and so handicap performance that an individual may never feel the promise of an early talent. Like previous literature, Schuler identifies the different types of perfectional personality, normal and neurotic. Their self-imposed demand of a higher performance than they are capable of leads to a reduction in self-esteem. Neurotic perfectionists have tense and deliberate attitudes and are confused, anxious, and emotionally drained before beginning a new task. Schuler also notes that there are at least 6 overlapping behaviors associated with perfectionism that describes both the normal and neurotic perfectionist. 1. Depression. 2. A nagging, a should feeling, shame and guilt feelings. 4. Space-saving behavior. 5. Shyness and procrastination. And 6. Self-deprecation. The intensity and duration of the 6 behavior vary between the normal and neurotic perfectionists, with the neurotic perfectionists experiencing longer durations and greater intensity of the behaviors. In the study, the connection between perfectionism and gifted adolescents was examined. Quantitative data about attitudes and behavior concerning perfectionism was gathered from the Goals and Work Habits Survey. Qualitative data were gathered from the semi-structured interviews and documentary evidence. The multiple case research design was used to examine the construct of perfectionism in gifted adolescents in a rural middle school. To investigate the perception the students have of influences in their environment that may contribute to their perfectionism, and to explore the consequences they may believe in are the results of their perfectionism. 20% of participants were selected from the multiple case studies during the 2 phases process. Once participants were collected, data was collected from school records, informal documents, physical artifacts, and observation that indicated that participants' high abilities and perfectionistic tendencies. Additional information about the participants include anecdotes from peers, teachers, administrators, and counselors. Semi-structured interviews, which included in-depth explanation of responses to the Goals and Work Habits Survey, were conducted with the participants. Interviews were also conducted with the samples of teachers, counselors, and parents, and the participants' teachers completed the Empowering Gifted Behavior Scale. Results indicated that perfectionism exists on a continuum of behaviors and thoughts from abnormal to neurotic of the gifted adolescents in a rural middle school who took the Goals and Work Habits Survey. 87.5% were perfectionists. Most 58% were in the healthy range of perfectionism, while the 29.5% were in the neurotic range. The main theme of the normal perfectionists were order and organization. They believed perfectionism was part of their personality, and most had been aware of their perfectionistic tendencies since they were young. The need for order and organization in their lives were influenced by 2 factors: the support system and the personal efforts they believed in essential for success. The main theme for the neurotic perfectionists was a concern over making mistakes. Their fixation over making mistakes resulted in an almost continuous state of high anxiety. The perceived expectations of others and their abilities and their identities and perceptions of other criticism about their actions were the 2 factors that influences the neurotic perfectionist intense concern over making mistakes. The results of the study indicated that perfectionism has more than one dimension and exists on a continuum from normal to neurotic, and enabling to disabling behaviors and attitudes.